Good. So it's like we never did this.
No. Who are you again?
Very nice to meet you. And this has got something to do with electricity, right? I see there's
Let's
a lot
hope.
of batteries behind you. Okay, let's roll. So how do the pieces in the electrical motion section of this exhibit relate to the work, the technologies that UTC is involved in today?
Yeah. If you look at the display, we have two main fundamental principles that are showcased. One is electrostatics and the other is electromagnetics. In the electrostatics portion, we have equipment and instruments that show what electrical charge can do in a system. And if you look at the kind of products that we make right now in terms of energy storage, measurement devices, if you look at meters that we make, this fundamental principle of how much charge is there in a system is key to make sure that equipment works well. The other portion of the exhibit is electrical energy in motion, or the electromagnetics portion. And fundamentally, a lot of the electrical equipment that UTC makes basically carries electrical current that produces either rotational motion or uses rotational energy to provide electrical energy in terms of generators. And so the equipment and the instruments in the display showcase this principle and show what the innovators in the past did some of their early work in this area on.
When you're looking at these kind of principles, ideas, innovations, inventions in the past, how does that help you kind of solve problems today?
I mean, if you look at some of the work that was done in the past, it's just mind-boggling to see what people put together with the amount of equipment and computation power that we had. As a researcher, as an engineer in the modern day, we are used to computers that do a lot of the calculations for us. But if you look at hundreds of years back, what some of the scientists and engineers had to utilize to come up with their inventions, it's just amazing to see their creativity and the fundamental grasp of knowledge that they had to put some of these pieces together. It's just, as an engineer and as a researcher in my heart, I'm just amazed to see how smart and how brilliant those scientists were to come up with some of these things that we see in the museum right now.
How does that inspire you in the work?
It's very inspiring. If you look at the way these instruments are put together and the craftsmanship that they have, the attention to detail and the precision, we want to replicate that same in what we do right now. And we want to have instruments that are not just functional but also attractive to look at. It's something that we don't focus a lot on, but to make sure that our equipment does its job and also looks good has a big impact in how we present it to our customers.
What do you think drove those inventors who are working with much simpler materials and tools and so on? What made them, what drove them in there?
Essentially, researchers and engineers are problem solvers. And so we are looking at phenomena that we don't understand, and we are trying to understand the various facets of the problem, what affects it, and how do we come up with equipment or instruments that explain to us what's going on. And that's something that we carry forward even right now, is we are trying to solve problems as engineers. We're trying to make products that make life better. And so how do we attack those issues and how do we come up with ways to do this in a cost-effective manner are things that we continuously grapple with. And looking at the work that was done in the past gives us inspiration, it gives us ideas, and it allows us to do a better job right now.
Let's talk a little bit about some of the instruments that represent some of these principles.
Sure. If you look at the display, it has two sets or two classes of instruments that are present. One is on electrostatics and the other is on electromagnetics. The electrostatics portion has as a quadrant electrometer, which fundamentally represents how we can measure charge in a system. It's a very precise measuring equipment. And in modern day UTC products which have energy storage elements like batteries, we want to know how much energy we are putting into the battery to guarantee a certain performance or guarantee lifetime. And so the electrometer kind of showcases what needs to be done to do the similar job with modern day equipment. The other side of the other portion of the museum on the electrical side has electromagnetic elements. And so this is fundamentally how we can convert electrical energy in terms of current into motion. And so if you look at a lot of the equipment that we have right now in terms of motors or generators, we use the same principle to do, say, to transmit people in an elevator system, or for motors, for carrier, or for the aerospace business. And so the electromagnetics portion has many equipment that kind of display the same principle, from the quadrant, from the Ørsted's demonstration apparatus to the Bruges dynamometer, showcasing the history and the evolution of electrical current in motion.
Talk a little bit about the dynamo and what that kind of represents, the breakthrough.
Yeah. So if you look at the dynamo fundamentally converts mechanical energy into electrical energy. So essentially we have a rotating shaft with an electrical current going through it in the presence of a magnetic field. So these fundamental principles that are encapsulated in that instrument are the same that we do right now in either a motor or a generator for Otis or Carrier or for our aerospace business. And if you look at that particular equipment, it's very simplistic, but it kind of defines the principles that we have perfected over many years right now to make the compact electrical equipment that you see in UTC products.
Describe how the world is becoming more electrical. What are some of the challenges that you face and some of the possibilities that you see?
I mean, if you look at modern day life, we are used to our cell phones, we are used to our laptops, we see electrical cars on the road, and we fly in aeroplanes that take us long distances in the blink of an eye. And all of this has been possible due to the use of electrical energy in various forms. We don't pay attention to it because it's part of our life, but continuous inventions and innovations in this area is going to make our life better as we move forward. Smaller and smaller batteries that go into our cell phones is going to make longer and longer charges for us. And also looking at the electrical cars, in the past we had hybrid electric vehicles that would go maybe 50 or 60 miles, but now in the same footprint we can go 200 to 300 miles, and that completely changes how we look at the use of renewable energy, the use of oil and gas, and how our world is going to look like in the future will be completely determined by how we utilize electrical energy in its various forms. So it's a tremendously exciting time as an electrical engineer for me to see where things are going to shape up and where things are going to end. And it's exciting to be part of that journey and to be able to impact that by making products that everyone can use all over the world.
What are some of the challenges that you think lie ahead because of this new technology, this change in the way we live?
And if you look at what every individual wants, he wants the same performance or the same functionality in a smaller and smaller footprint at a lower and lower cost. And that's what really drives us, is how can we get the performance into everybody's hands in a footprint that they like. We want a cell phone, it needs to be easy to be carried. We don't want to lug a laptop along the whole time if you want. So how do we get that functionality, the electrical equipment, the charge, the storage in a smaller form factor at a cost that we can all afford? And is our fundamental challenge. And also if you look at it, the world is developing. There are billions of people who don't have access to some of the technology that we are used to. So how can we bring the technology that we already have into the hands of everyone to make everybody's life better? It's going to be our grand challenge moving forward.
Can you describe some of the specific things you're working on now?
Fundamentally, the research center looks at innovative technologies for our business units, and we are continuously finding new avenues for making our existing products smaller, lighter, and less expensive. So this could be for motors and drives for Otis, where we are trying to utilize new technology that is available, that is showing up in the market, and trying to understand how we can use them and make our products better. And the same principles also apply to our aerospace business. If you look at what we did on the 787 in terms of the more electric aircraft, and now we are trying to understand how can we make those equipment that we put on the aircraft smaller, lighter, and have a higher performance. So these are things that are ubiquitous for us at UTC, is how do we do things better, and how do we use new technology to do innovations that give our customers a better product.
So you talked a little bit in the last interview about this galvanometer, how it had a personal effect on you.
Mm-hmm. Sure. The museum has a Helmholtz tangent galvanometer. It's an instrument that is used to measure the electrical current that is going through a certain coil or a certain apparatus. It was my high school science project where I made a galvanometer. And so to see this particular instrument here in the museum just brings me back to the reasons why I became an electrical engineer in the first place. As a young high school student, I was grappling with the fundamental principles that govern that instrument, trying to understand how to build the whole equipment, and it basically instilled on me the qualities of trying to understand the principles, trying to understand how to execute on them, and how to build something that actually works. Looking at the galvanometer in the museum, it was brought all of those memories back as to why I'm an engineer right now and why I'm excited for the kind of things that I'm involved in my current job. Yeah. Okay. 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 Okay.
Look right up here, and I'm going to go right like this. When I come over here, I want you to just spin and look right here, give me a nice smile, right?
I'll do my best.
Right here, follow it, and right to the lens. Instantly in there. Okay. Right here, and right to the lens. Good, good. Look down, just look down. And when I say look up, I want you to look up, fold your arms, and look right into the lens, okay? So all in one motion, man. Look right into the lens, fold your arms at the same time. Good. And this time, give me a big smile. Look right at me, okay?
I'll try my best.
Big proud smile, okay? And ready, and all in one motion. Nice, right up in, and good, good. Oh, give me a big smile, though. I want to see those teeth. All right, what we're doing one more time.
Okay.
I need you to have your laugh, okay?
Okay.
Ready, and look right up, and give me a little laugh. There we go. That's perfect. That was good. All right, we're great. Thank you.
Okay.
We're going to do that next.
All right.
All right, so
I'm all.
yep, so everybody